Good evening. Welcome to the 2018 North Branford High School graduation ceremony. At this time, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by the North Branford High School Chamber Choir.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. Philippides. We look forward to hearing more from our award-winning group later in the day. On behalf of the entire staff at North Branford High School, we welcome you and all of our honored guests. We also welcome our spectators today to this important day with our class of 2018. We remind all spectators who are joining us today that this ceremony is the culmination of our graduates' hard work and their families' support over several years. Thus, it continues to be our tradition and expectation that our ceremony today remains dignified and that we provide our undivided attention to our distinguished speakers. At the close of today's event, we ask that our family members and spectators meet their graduates on the soccer field located behind the football stadium in order for our graduates to go through our honor court and so that they can meet you in this fashion. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our NBHS Valedictorian, Zelda Galdenzi.
Thank you, Mr. Stuffler. Welcome, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Schoonmaker, members of the Board of Education and Town Council, Mr. Stuffler, Mr. Gwuds, class advisors, Mrs. Esposito and Mrs. Lunan, Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ford, teachers, staff, family, friends, and the class of 2018. This is probably the most many of you have ever heard me talk, and I just started. I'm honored to be able to speak today on behalf of this extraordinary graduating class. Growing up, we continually heard that our class was special. It may have gotten us privileges like sitting wherever we wanted in the middle school cafeteria and recurrent praise from our teachers, but I know for many this accolade was near meaningless. Even though we often dismiss their praise, the reality of being an exceptional class will not leave us. We have led sports teams to championships, undefeated seasons, and broken records. We have excelled academically. We have advanced bands to numerous titles. We have fostered amazing artists, singers, actors, videographers, techies, and so much more. Still, one of the most important accomplishments that we should be proud of as a class is our character. This is what makes us truly special. Beyond just our individual successes, we have stayed empathetic and have supported each other through our varied interests. This kindness and encouragement towards others equips us with the tools to make a positive impact on everyone around us as we go forth. In order to continue to be exceptional, we need to speak up. If there is one thing that I urge all of you to do as our paths diverge, it is to let your voice be heard. I know that for me, this is one of the hardest and scariest things to do, but we owe it to ourselves and this world to speak up. There is always going to be someone trying to silence you, trying to invalidate your opinion, trying to hold you back. And often, this great foe is your own self. However, we all have a uniqueness to us and a perspective on life that needs to be heard. So use your voice. Looking at our past, it is clear that the people who took risks and persistently stood up against injustice despite being ostracized are the people who made the greatest change. In our world today, we see many changes that still need to happen, and we are the ones who need to make them happen. And lastly, the future. This is what many of us are thinking of right now. It may be scary, but we undoubtedly have the potential and ability to do well and enjoy the next chapter of our lives. With your mind, your heart, and your passion, each and every one of you sitting here has the ability to accomplish your goals and make a difference. I am continually inspired by seeing all of you support each other's successes. In doing this, you've proudly used your voice to help one another. Supporting one another and pushing people to be their best not only enables achievement, but is often worth more than the success itself. When we bring out these benevolent qualities, we are able to make the change that needs to happen. We were fortunate to have this environment at NBHS where we were encouraged to use our voices for the good of others and ourselves. So as we step into the world that is now unknown, it is also important to remember where we came from. Despite the notion that coming from a small town can be inhibiting, the benefits are indisputable. We have grown up together and established invaluable bonds. The strength of the community is heartening. Wherever you end up, it is important to create a community, a climate where you lift each other up, establish a support system, and inspire innovation. One voice makes a sound, but a group of voices demands to be heard. One person can do great things, but when people come together, we are limitless. After today, we will continue to grow, like a tree or even our vibrant sunflowers, and branch out to new experiences and places. Our leaves may be all different colors and sizes, but our roots will keep us grounded. Always remember your purple and white roots, the town you spent your life in, the people that helped you get here, and the person you are today. With these, reach for the sky and share your uniqueness for the betterment of the world. Thank you, and once again, congratulations to the class of 2018. And now I'd like to introduce our class president, who happens to be the entire boys tennis team, Christopher Candelora.
Thank you, Zelda. Welcome, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Schoonmaker, members of the Board of Education and Town Council, Mr. Steffler, Mr. Gwuds, class advisors, Mrs. Esposito and Mrs. Lunan, Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ford, teachers, staff, family, friends, and the class of 2018. Yeah. I'll be honest, I struggled to find parting words of wisdom to guide you through the coming years and to emphasize how epic of a class we truly are. I could start it off with a quote from a famous politician, poet, or scientist. However, that is too cliche for such a unique class. Anyone that knows me knows I love superheroes. I think you all know where I'm going with this. At the time when I wrote this speech, I happened to just finish watching Captain America: Civil War, and I was reminded of a quote said by Captain America. This nation was founded on one principle above all else: the requirement that we stand up for what we believe, no matter the odds or consequences. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the world, no, you move. All well-established trees need a source of nutrients to grow, thrive, and remain sturdy. Some people say your adult lives begin at college. However, our experiences here at North Branford High School cannot be discounted. Our adult lives, really began on that August day in 2014 when we first took our steps into North Branford High School. Here, we grew and flourished into the mature individuals we are today. It was within these walls we learned how to stand up for what we believe, even if what we believe was contrary to the mainstream. North Branford High School supplied each and every one of us with the nutrients to plant ourselves and stand for what we believe. People looking in from the outside may see North Branford High School as just another small town school sitting in the shoreline. Our class has proven this to be quite the contrary. When everyone told us we can't win shorelines and states for field hockey while going pretty much undefeated, our senior leadership proved them wrong. When everyone told us we couldn't win shorelines 3 years in a row for softball, our senior leadership decided to take them to a fourth one. When everyone told us our chorus and band can't place at every competition they go to, we just show them our trophy case that proves otherwise. I could go on and on about all of these extracurricular achievements, but there are just so many. In terms of academics, we put up some of the highest SAT and CAP scores NBHS has ever seen, and a record number of students are planning on attending a 2 or 4 year college. It was in these moments that we planted ourselves and proved to the world we can do anything we set our minds to. The most prominent display of students standing up for their own ideals, however, shone through in our contemporary issues classes in our junior year. Everyone in those classes could attest to how controversial it could be as many topics relating to politics and philosophy were discussed. Nevertheless, students would stand up for what they believe and express their opinions openly and freely, even if it wasn't the popular view of the rest of the class. Nobody was afraid of being reprimanded for their beliefs. We proved that we can do anything we set our minds to as long as we stay rooted and true to ourselves. I want each and every one of you to remember how super you are. Remember these attributes NBHS gave you to move forward. Don't forget all the laughs and tears you shared with some of your closest friends. Don't forget the all-nighters you pulled to put the finishing touches on that final essay or that final project. Don't forget how happy you felt after winning that most important game, or how sad it felt to lace those cleats for the last time. Don't forget how good it felt to nail that solo, or how bittersweet it was to play that instrument one last time. But most importantly, don't forget Mr. Young's amazing lectures, coupled with his hilarious one-liners. Like when we had our first fire drill in our high school career, and Mr. Young humorously noted, "Hurry up or you're all going to burn." Going forward, we must base ourselves on one principle above all else. My dad gave his class president speech here at NBHS 30 years ago. He ended his speech with a quote that comes from some song called City of Dreams by Talking Heads. I don't know if anyone here knows who this band is or even how this song goes, but nevertheless, the message from this one line is powerful. We live in the city of dreams. We ride through this highway of fire. We awake and find it gone. Remember this, our favorite town. As we all go our separate ways, some off to college, others to trade school, others right into the workforce or military, let us remember this town. Let us remember all of these memories that create an unbreakable bond between us all. Let us remember the legacy we left behind. No matter what the world says, no matter what anyone says, always stand up for what you believe. Go against the tide when you deem it necessary, and don't compromise your morals and beliefs for anyone or anything. Today, we graduate from being North Branford High School students, and we will transition from a T-bird to a husky or some other breed of bird. Some of you may be anxious to leave here. Others may be unwilling to pick up and move on, myself included. No matter how you feel, and no matter where you go, just remember, you are always a T-Bird at heart. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2018. I would now like to introduce the North Branford High School Concert Band under the direction of Mrs. Katie Lodano.
Focus on them. Okay, let me know.
Thank you, Mrs. Lodano. Let's hear for our NBHS Concert Band. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the many individuals whose contributions made today's event possible. Class advisors, Mrs. Esposito, Mrs. Lunan, Administrative Assistant, Mrs. Golombeski, Assistant Principal Guads, and please join me in congratulating Mr. Guads. This is his first group to go 4 years under his leadership and tenure at North Branford High School. We also thank our Dean of Students, Mrs. Lee, Mr. Rapport, Mrs. Tetzo, Guidance Director, Mrs. DeTour, Supervisor of Operations, Mr. Chody and his staff, and Director of Public Works, Mr. Marola and his staff. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our dedicated secretarial staff in the main office and in the guidance department. Mrs. Bogner, Mrs. Schmidt, Mrs. Sharano, and many of you know these folks are the face of the building and the point people who serve our needs every day. Essentially, they're the face of the school and are quite successful in meeting all of our needs. So I'd like to thank them and congratulate them for a wonderful year this year as well. And welcome to our honored guests, including Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Scott Schoonmaker, Director of Special Services, Mrs. Wright, Chair of the North Branford Board of Education, Mrs. Shauna Holzer, Vice Chair, Mrs. Onofrio, Board of Education Member, Mr. Mace, and Board of Education Member and Parent, Mrs. Candelora, and also from the North Branford Town Council, Mrs. Marie Diamond. Thank you for joining us here today as we celebrate our graduates. As June approaches each year, absolutely. As June approaches each year, and I begin to draft a speech for this event, I often ponder, how can I include and describe a connection that I have with this particular group? Some years it's been a little bit of a challenge, but this year has been quite manageable. For this particular class, I was able to identify something very close to my own experiences. Just days ago, I had the opportunity to spend time with several of my own high school classmates during our 35th high school reunion. Yes, 35 years. And since 1983, as you can imagine, in the world, much has changed. Technology, travel, and the global economy are vastly different today than in 1983. For me, no longer do I ride a Honda motorcycle, but I drive a family van, a Honda Odyssey. No longer do I travel to the gym to work out, to meet others, meet people. I escape to the gym to take a break from our crazy and complex world, and so that others can take a break from me. Having this opportunity to reflect this week about your future, I'd like to share some of my own thoughts about readiness, tenacity, and talent. High school graduation is the end of one important segment of your life and the beginning of the next stage. You should have mixed emotions at this point. The process of departing a place in an era that you've come to understand and know during your young adult lives involves a level of readiness to move on, and it also provides anxiousness due to the unknown. I encourage you to reflect upon those foundations of your life thus far, including your family and your true friends who have been a support. Continue with the development of the skills that you've acquired through your own comprehensive experiences at North Branford High School. Your knowledge and the tools associated with your academics will continue to be important as you move to your post-high school plans, including college, the military, and the workforce. Your readiness will often rely on the skills that you have developed in the classrooms in the North Branford School District, and also during your remarkable experiences with the co-curriculars, drama, music, and athletics. Communication, time management, teamwork, and leadership are and will continue to be critical in all of your post-high school plans on a professional level and in your personal lives. Your ability to manage time, to effectively communicate with others, to show compassion, to recognize growth in others will determine the level of your success that you achieve in your careers, but more importantly, define your personal lives and greatly impact your own families someday as parents yourselves. These attributes and qualities are not measured by the SAT or class rank, but will often determine the quality of our lives and your paths as the success as we define it. Your academic achievement and preparation and training for career and the development of these interpersonal skills will be critical in your own readiness when challenges arise and opportunity knocks on both the professional and personal fronts of your lives. So this thing called talent. Talent comes in many forms and can be quite obvious, but is also very subjective. When you attempt to describe it and to measure it, it's subjective. When the comparisons are made and discussed and pondered and voiced based on other examples within a common population in a common environment, it's so subjective. Without a standardized measure, talent can be in the eye of the beholder, and this is true for many areas of life. It will be true for you as you enter post-secondary education in your careers. As you move on, the talent pool will incrementally increase. At times, the talent pool will exponentially increase as you advance in any area of study and in any profession. Some people believe that individuals have natural talent, God-given talent, talent is in the genes, and so on. Regardless, you can have an impact on your own talent level based on your focus and determination. I encourage you to readily acknowledge your own talents, but be very mindful that the level of the competition around you will intensify. Be keen on your own progress as a reflective and humble individual. This is the most important measure, rather than a comparison to the competition and others. Your talents will strengthen and broaden so long as that you keep a focus and a determination. You need to have tenacity in order to move forward. Tenacity is described as determination, to have a grip, to persist, a strength of will. Without tenacity, human nature will limit growth and progress as people and as professionals, despite our talents. When we rely solely on our talent, complacency and a self-inflated perception is the outcome for many. Those who truly thrive in life are those individuals who demonstrate tenacity and develop resilience over time in order to truly capitalize on their talents, regardless of the stage of the life, regardless of the past successes, and regardless of any challenges that may exist in the present or during the future. If you can craft and nurture this thing called tenacity, it will allow you to achieve heights that are not limiting, not defined by the existence of where you reside or where you work, or around, or who those are around at any given time. Well-known individuals who excel in all types of occupations are talented, yet it is their tenacity which set them aside from others who are just as talented. Their ability and desire to overcome when challenged, the ability to stay focused on the objectives and productively adjust when the changes occur, the determination to rise above the doubters and to overcome despite other agendas. You are all old enough and wise enough to recognize this thing called tenacity when you have it and you see it in a person. It's in the people who overcome, who overachieve, and you see it in families who are dealt a disappointment or a setback. You can see it in organizations and businesses with a resilience despite obstacles, changes, or despite unfounded attacks. We all know that we've observed others who have talent, others who have risen to heights early in their lives, and some who have an abundance of talent and potential, but never leave a mark in the world, never assist or appreciate others. Please don't settle, don't be complacent, put forth your best intentions, put forth your best efforts with all of your endeavors throughout life. This is a very simple and a very overstated concept, yet it's challenging and complex when you put it into practice over time. And in the words of the playwright and author Julia Cameron, often it is tenacity, not talent, that rules the day. So we congratulate you and we celebrate with you today. Continue to be passionate about your achievements and your personal interests. Continue to be a supportive citizen who stays true to your hometown, North Branford, and stay true to the people who matter most to you. You have a responsibility, as we all do, to help those in need, those that we know and those that we're not familiar with. Respect the traditions that you have and honor the past, but be open to new ideas and welcome a challenge to stay motivated. We thank you for your various contributions throughout your 4 years at NBHS, and we wish and offer our best wishes for each and every one of you. Thank you, and now the NBHS Chamber Choir. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Chair of the Board of Education, Mrs. Shauna Holzer.
Good afternoon and welcome. I had a speech prepared, but I'm not going to use it. I'm in utter shock and inspired by this class. I had no idea of your accomplishments, and I thank you. You have demonstrated what a collaborative community can be. You have celebrated each other's strengths and supported each other in times of weakness, and that is something we should all do. I sit out here as an adult, and I sometimes wonder why we can't do that, why we all dig in our heels sometimes and we can't listen to others' perspectives. Thank you so much for showing what community can do when they work together. Congratulations, class of 2018, on behalf of the Board of Education.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Scott Schoonmaker.
Just a slight adjustment. Seniors, how do we do this year with snow days, delayed openings, keeping the buildings going to graduate on a Friday evening, at least a week ahead of many other districts? Greetings, Board Chair Shauna Papaholzer, Vice Chair Marcia Onofrio, Board Secretary Elizabeth Sienna, Board members Jana Balsamo, Carolyn Candelora, Vincent Mace, Cynthia Rice, members of the Town Council, parents, relatives, friends, faculty, staff, and administration, Principal Steffler, Assistant Principal Mr. Guads, and members of the class of 2018, it is with great pleasure that I stand before you as Superintendent of the North Branford Schools. During the past 9.5 years, I have personally witnessed the many outstanding qualities and attributes which your class possesses. This morning's reflection ceremony was yet another reminder of the diverse talents and spirit that your class possesses. You truly rally around each other in the best and worst of times to support and care for each other. Over the 4 years, you have succeeded as students, musicians, athletes, artists, and most importantly, responsible citizens who have given back to your community and school by initiating and participating in many community-based events. I would like to express my deepest appreciation for the many occasions where you have demonstrated that you are caring, compassionate, and empathetic group of students. As the graduating class of 2018 sits in front of me, I see 144 students who have met all the requirements to become a high school graduate. Most of you have spent 13 years in the educational system following the guidelines of both the state and federal government, not to mention well-meaning parents. I would like to share with you a story about 2 seas that are in Israel. The first sea, the Sea of Galilee, is rich and fertile and full of fish and children playing on its banks. The second sea, the Dead Sea, has no life, no fish, and no children playing on its banks. In fact, it gives off a putrid smell. Interestingly, both seas are fed by the same river, the Jordan River. The difference is that for every drop of water that flows into the Sea of Galilee from the Jordan River, the same flows out the other end. But for the Dead Sea, every drop that flows into from the Jordan River, it keeps, and as a result, it is dead. You give, you live. You keep, you fail. I share this analogy with you as a reminder to live your life by giving and sharing in order to keep your love of learning alive. This time of year affords me many opportunities to see the great things that the North Branford Public Schools and its staff give to students and families of this great community. I recently visited a grade 2 author celebration at Jerome Harrison. This event was coordinated by Miss Amy Aiken and many support staff members. I witnessed 20 young authors being given the opportunity to showcase their writing. This is not a mandated curriculum event, but an example of a teacher, school community members, and parents giving their time and effort to give students an exceptional learning experience. Another event that is a great example of giving is the high school's capstone project. Our high school students work with many district employees, family members, mentors, and community businesses to help them learn, understand, and experience an area of interest to them. This authentic learning opportunity can only occur through the giving of time, knowledge, and life experiences. The individuals who mentor our students are giving of themselves. I can go on and on speaking about events at every school that foster learning beyond the classroom walls and are only possible through giving and sharing. Think back on your 13 years in North Branford and the many opportunities you were given to thrive, live, and give back. North Branford Public Schools staff, parents, community members, and businesses are keeping the flowing waters of learning alive in North Branford. Live your life like the Sea of Galilee by giving and sharing. In the end, you will thrive and prosper. Congratulations to the class of 2018. And the most important thing that I can now say to you, by the authority vested in me by the state of Connecticut and North Branford Board of Education as Superintendent of Schools, I certify to you, Chairman Papa Holzer, that these young men and women have met all the requirements for graduation as determined by the North Branford Board of Education. They are now entitled to receive their diplomas and all the rights contained herein. Congratulations.
Sydney Aqua Franklin. Shelley Albrecht. Reagan Amara. Robert Amendola. Riley Anderson. Nicholas Ash. George Auger. Tiffany Balzano. Brittany Beardsley. Aaron Besaw. Natasha Blythe. Kayla Bonaldo. Sydney Bookman. Amanda Buffard. Gavin Bazzuto. Jenna Bryden. Jonathan Buckley. Owen Butler. Jarrett Cacapardo. Nadia Calabrese. Gloria Carr. Bianca Castellan. Jessica Saravello. Maddie Colavopi. Jasmine Coleman. Sarah Criscolo. Veronica Da Silva. Marissa D'Amico. Theodore DeCola. Dana DeLuca. Ethan Despres. Julia DeWitt. Hannah DeEdwards. Brendan Dupuis. Haley Ernest. Sean Esposito. Bailey Fair. Jenna Fama. Nicholas Federico. Jana Fee. Marissa Ferriolo. Caitlin Fillion. Alden Fox. Alyssa Franco. Matthew Gall. Benjamin Gobriel. Cheyenne Gibalero. Gabriella Giglietti. Sedalia Goman. Teresa Guadagnino. Adriana Guest. Aaron Hackley Cleary. Jake Hakel. Brianna Hammond. Brooke Hammond. Olivia Hemstock. Austin Hummel. Colby Hunt. Jeffrey Jablonski. Jared Jameson. Zachary Jameson. Alex Johansson. Vanessa Kennedy. Brianna Kanopka. Meredith Korn. Brian Kruglich. John Lacerva. Anthony Leone. Brett LaQuire. Samantha Levine. Grace Little. Gabriella Laurenti. John Lovelace. Talia Lucabelli. Mackenzie McGowan. Jacob Marshall. Sabrina Martone. Angela Mastriani. Jacob Matteo. Lydia Matson. Onaji Masick. Kayla McCoskey. Alana Mesaw. Ryan Minjone. Nicolette Molnar. Joseph Monet. Carly Monge. Caitlin Muller. David Murgo. Haley Murphy. Jacob Newbig. Emmy Norton. Caitlin Odell. Michael Odell. Morgan Odise. Christopher Olson. Thomas O'Neill. Joshua Otfanoski. Colin Olette. Courtney Olette. Francesca Palma. John Pellegrino. Nicole Phelps. Nicholas Phillips. Cooper Pierpont. Louis Peter Andrea. Connor Pollock. Brooke Powers. Michael Prodati. Jaya Rashid. Nina Robertson. Evan Roof. Jason Rysick. Cole Soro. Amanda Sell. Sydney Sinersha. Zachary Smola. Hunter Spade. Ryan Stevens. Brandon Stimson. Jocelyn Streeto. John Sullivan. Madison Sullivan. Michaela Sullivan. Sarah Sullivan. Jack Thorburn. Morgan Violette. Casey Visser. Sarah Vitorisi. Denise Wall. Alyssa Walters. Emily Wilkinson. Madeline Wilson. Marie Zampano. Darian Zadunik. Paul Zumbo. Abigail Esposito. Zelda Galdenzi. Sierra De Palma. Michael Madul. Michaela Harrison. Danielle Ramada. And Christopher Candelora.
Hi, you're live right now.